Welcome to Medical Intuition Illuminated, the podcast bringing light to the wisdom of the body. I'm your host, Laura Wise, a medical intuitive and psychic medium dedicated to helping you understand the subtle and layered ways your body communicates. Here, we explore the meeting point of intuition, physiology, and energy, approaching the body not as a puzzle to fix, but as a wise, expressive system that's always speaking. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not medical advice, and it does not replace professional healthcare, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider for any medical concerns. This episode contains a real medical intuition session. All participants are anonymous, and any identifying details have been edited out to protect privacy. Okay. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. Before we get started, I just wanted to give you my disclaimer and that I'm not a licensed medical practitioner. So we'll be talking about the body and the different organ systems and doing a deep dive into that. But I won't be diagnosing. I won't be saying that I can cure anything. And I won't be talking about any named conditions unless it's something that you bring up and want to talk about the energy of. Along those lines, I might also be offering things around suggestions around recommendations for foods, for supplements and practices and things like that. And I do that all with the caveat that you check in with your own personal care team before making any changes to your routine. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, great. And before we get started, do I have your permission to read you and your energy and your body today?
Yes, please.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so I'm going to start tuning in and I'm going to send out my energy to you. And the first thing that I start at the top of the head. So the first thing that usually comes through is kind of how your mind works and how you receive intuitive information. So first thing I'm getting is that you kind of live within what I call the soup, and that you're getting intuitive information all of the time. It's kind of like there aren't a lot of barriers sometimes to like things coming into you. And I feel like it can be sometimes really overwhelming for you to kind of get all of that. Just like you're feeling people, you're getting like information from your guides, and like it also sounds like you. And so it's just like everything everywhere all at once. Does this make sense to you?
Yes, very much so.
Which is a lot to carry, definitely. And they're really pointing out the ears to me, which is telling me that you actually receive a lot of like auditory information. That's actually probably one of your strongest intuitive gifts. They're pointing out is that you might hear songs on the radio that are meaningful to you, or you might hear high pitched ringing noises, or you might hear voices inside your head, right, that are telling you things. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. And they're also talking about there is doubt that comes up when you're getting intuitive information of like, you're like, well, I want this to be true. And so there's sometimes where you're like, I think I'm just making this up, right? And you start to kind of like doubt some of the stuff that's coming through, or you become critical of what it is that's happening. And your guides really want to emphasize that there's no harm in like allowing that to be true, you know? Like it's they're there for your benefit, and you're starting to believe and trust yourself, but it's a process, right? They're saying that like ebbs and flows, like it will come and then you'll be like no 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 and get kind of critical of self, and then open back up, if that makes sense. um I do see some jaw clenching that you have through the bottom jaw in particular, and some grinding as well. And this is kind of a childhood pattern, in that oftentimes you have concerns about saying too much or saying the wrong thing, and so you tend to bite your tongue or like hold back on your words a little bit. And it becomes kind of stuck in there a little bit, and you almost have to like, because you have really strong opinions about things, and that's gotten you in trouble, and particularly like kind of your family unit, they're like kind of like there's a little bit of pressure to be like, "Psst, don't say all the things, right?" And so
Mhm.
you tend to like clamp down on it, and you have to hold down hard because it wants to come out of you so bad. Does this make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. Um, okay. So I am already getting kind of a little bit of a heat pattern throughout. So we'll see more when we get to the digestion, what that actually looks like. I do see a little bit of just inflammation through the sinuses. I think this could be more something along the lines of an acute thing that's related more to kind of seasonal allergies or things or like dust or pollen that is within your environment. And there might be also some kind of like dust or mold. Actually, yeah, they're actually saying mold within your house as well. That kind of, particularly in the bathroom, they're saying. Let me look at shoulders and back. So I do see some protective kind of curling around the heart space that is happening. Like you tend to kind of curl into with your shoulders a little bit and hold a little bit of a holding pattern within the chest as well. They're talking about breath as well, and they're saying it's been really hard for you to kind of like feel like you can take a really deep breath. And they're talking about this as kind of a situational environment thing where there's like a lot of things that keep hitting you in waves, and it's hard for you to feel like you can kind of settle into life and like breathe deeply. Does this make sense? Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a lot. Yeah. And it's just, it's like they come out of nowhere, is what they're saying. It's like things will start to feel like they're getting fine. And then it's this like big wave again of things happening and a lot of pressure. And it's just, yeah, so much tightness with that. Let me look into the lungs. So I do sense some grief in the lungs, and I'm actually seeing the grief at the bottom of the lungs, which tells me it's a little bit older grief. And this feels more less like grief around particularly like what we would think of as traditional around somebody's passing, and this feels more like kind of like life grief. And they're actually pointing to some of this grief as actually kind of passed down through the family line as stories that are told about the family and like are kind of like the way the family sees themselves, and kind of that you've pulled that into your system as well and kind of carry that as well. Does this make sense to you?
Yes, very,
Yeah.
very much so.
Okay. And a lot of this is not yours to even carry, right? But it's almost like it created certain belief systems that you have around the way you see yourself and like your opportunities in life and things like that. That it's kind of, but it doesn't necessarily like belong to you specifically. So this is something that we're going to work on within the healing portion. So I'm making a note here for to look in the more deeply in the lungs at that point. And we'll release some of that stuff that isn't yours. And so we'll unpack that a little bit more when we get there. Let's look into the heart space. Oh, you have such a tender heart. So you love people so hard. You just really like, it's like instant for you. Like you find somebody and you just love them like so deeply, and you kind of want to give all of yourself, but you've had some experiences in the past where that has not been held and nurtured, and so there's a lot of tenderness and protective energy that I'm seeing around the heart, and this is on both the left and the right side. And it's particularly around the left side. Um,
What do
and
the
they're saying,
sides represent? Excuse,
so the
sorry.
left side is oftentimes when there's like tenderness about our self and our self-worth and things that relate to ourselves, it's like inner things. The right side is about others. So, and about the world and the environment. And so that's more like um, tenderness about, you know, loving others and giving and receiving love in that way. Um, and I do it especially on the left side of the heart there, that it's just you are a very unique person, and people take things from you the wrong way a lot of the time. They like you say something, and then people, again, this comes into what they're saying with the throat and the jaw and the neck, and that we were seeing with the tightness through that, is that um people like don't see you as you are. There's something about that, like they see you they don't necessarily see like what you were trying to say or what you were trying, like how you're trying to be. They're seeing this like other reflection of things, right? And so things that you say get taken the wrong way, or things that you feel, and then oftentimes when you're trying to love people, they like take it the wrong way, or do they it's just a like it doesn't hit the way that you intended it to. Um so
Hmm.
that is, we're also going to look at the heart space and the healing portion as well, and we'll unpack some of the, yeah, patterns that are connected to it. Yeah, I'm seeing that tightness in the rib cage as well, just between the ribs, and it goes through to the back. So you actually might have some pain through the back as well, like them in the mid back behind the shoulder blades. Okay. Yeah, and I do see your spine, like certain vertebrae tend to kind of like go out on either side. So you might just feel like they just slip out really easily. And so they're actually saying you feel it almost in your hips and your like low back more than your upper back, with the spine just kind of being wonky. And then it's like out for days, and it throws like your whole system off with things. And they're actually saying that it throws off some of the electrical patterns between like all throughout your body, right? And
Hmm.
so signals, so you might get like pain in weird places, and you're like, that's not actually where the pain is. And it kind of just interrupts that system of flow through it. I'm still feeling heat. Okay, let's get into some of the organ systems. Okay, so I'm looking at kidneys, and the first thing they're showing me is just like your adrenals are so on, and that you're kind of in this constant state of fight or flight mechanism where they're just kind of on, and it just doesn't feel like there's, and this relates back to breath, is what they're talking about, in that it's doesn't feel like there's a place for them to just come down and relax. It's like they're showing me like ears pricked, basically, like an animal that is like always listening for the next thing to hit or something to happen. They are saying this is something that got turned on in childhood. They're actually relating this again to kind of these like family stories that were told about everyone, or like the idea of how everyone saw themselves or saw the family unit, or like kind of challenges that had to be traversed or is like a part of life. Um, I'm gonna make a note for adrenals as well here for healing those. Kidneys govern the emotion of fear. And so that's, they're connected deeply with those adrenals. And the adrenals it's there to keep us safe, right? And get us out of danger. But as humans in a modern world, we have a lot of things that keep us constantly in that state. And we never get to kind of move that energy through. Um, Let me take a look at, yeah, so they're pulling me into stomach. Yeah, I do see the heat pattern there. So I do see that you tend to run warm rather than cold in general. Um, and that's great. It like gives you a lot of energy in a lot of ways, but it's like also that fire is sometimes what comes out of your mouth that you're trying to clamp down on, and that fire is actually a superpower. So it's, they're talking about you're in the process of being able to kind of own that fire instead of that fire owning you. And it's a give and take, and it's kind of this process of unpacking it, and being confident in it. And they're saying specifically not caring what other people think about you, because people are going to misinterpret things that's just like humans do that. Um, and so yeah, so they're saying, let me see about looking at that. Yeah, you have good digestive fire, you have a lot of juiciness in there. I'm seeing a lot of, kind of the good digestive juices. Um, you're the kind of, because you have strong digestive fire, that things like, raw vegetables are great, leafy greens, you can do them better than somebody with low digestive fire. Um, Red meat can be a little bit activating and acidifying for you, though. So things like red meat, like red wine is really acidifying. Just in general, kind of the acid stuff. Let me see about other meats. Pork's fine. Fish good. Do you do animal proteins?
Yes.
Okay. Chicken, um, tofu. I'm seeing soy. Soy is an irritant for you. Um, all the other animal proteins seem fine. Nuts are fine. Nightshades are too acidifying. So things like tomatoes, potatoes, depending on the kind of potato, could be okay, but things like peppers, um, and yeah, things in that eggplant, things in that nightshade family are going to be acidifying for you and irritating to your stomach. Um, you might do better with cooked tomatoes over raw tomatoes, but still they're gonna create a lot of acid reflux for you. Um, yeah, digestive fire, like you could just it like can get so big sometimes that it might be what you feel sometimes is that it'll come back up a little bit. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah. Can I ask questions?
Yeah.
So is this something like, because I really like ginger, should I not have so much ginger, or is that is that attributing to the
Um,
good juiciness, or is that just like
Yeah,
too much
ginger's a little
type
bit
of thing?
different. I think it can be definitely activating, but it's not going to be as activating as something like that's like more acidic than that. Um, it is warming though, so it will warm things up. So if you're already kind of feeling warm and then you have ginger on top of it, it's really going to like throughout your whole
Mhm.
body. So it kind of is a more of a comfort thing. It is can be really hydrating though, so and it's good for digestion. So but if you are trying to get something that feels soothing digestively, then I would even steer you. You could do like a mint or like a spirit. You could even do a spearmint. A peppermint is a warming mint. And then you can also do things like aloe, inner leaf, only the inner leaf, because the outer leaf is a diuretic. But aloe is one of the most cooling things that you can possibly put in your body. So it'll cool down some of that digestive fire. Um, and then coconut water. Yeah, you're fine with coconuts. Coconut water is really cooling as well. Did you have another question or did that answer?
No,
Okay.
that's good. Yeah, thank you.
Um, and they're saying wheat is an irritant as well. So I'm sorry because it's everywhere.
Uh-huh.
But you just might want to pay attention to that. Dairy is fine. Dairy is actually a cooling as well, energy. So, but I'm not seeing it being irritating to you. Um, okay. So, stomach governs the emotion of anxiety or worry. And they're actually saying, like, you're pretty good at transforming worry and anxiety into action. Like that, sometimes almost too much to where you like jump into action before you finish kind of processing the emotion and processing what it is that you want to do. But, worry is something that you use as almost like a motivating force that they're saying, which is good. Let me look at more into digestion. Yeah, I do see just a little bit of heat through the digestive tract. It's not too much, but it just might be some of these kind of things that like the acidifying foods. You have good nutrient absorption. Um, if anything, things might move a little bit too quickly through your digestive system. It just might kind of like uh, go very quickly and come out kind of hot, or wetter than you might like. And they are saying fiber though, adding a little bit more fiber into your diet to kind of slow things down and allow you more that stuff more time within your digestive tract to kind of absorb. Um, and they're almost talking about like you're good on iron, but there's like other trace minerals that you could definitely benefit from having a little more in your. They're saying magnesium would be great to add in as well, and it's really calming for the nervous system as well as it kind of helps. It can help with the acid reflux. It can kind of help. It helps a lot of different things. And
What does it mean if I'm already taking multiple types and forms of magnesium? That it's
okay,
a supplement to try to help myself with that.
yeah. What kind of
Do I take
magnesium are you
more?
taking? Which one is it? Yeah, which cat ones are you taking?
Uh, I have magnesium glycinate that I take at nighttime, the magnesium threonate that I take in the morning and at nighttime. That has the magnesium biglycinate, chelate, and malate, and the threonate. And then I also take um, these things. This is magnesium glycinate with ashwagandha and L-theanine. But I also take,
Okay.
I take
So
a,
the second one you're talking about, is that in pill form?
yes, this one.
Yeah. So that one, for some reason, is not really absorbing as much in your body. It's a little bit, is it like a pressed pill or is it a capsule?
It's a capsule.
Okay. Yeah, so that one I think because it's like almost like it's like too much, too many different kinds that it's causing your body to kind of be like and not absorb it. And I would say the third one because it has ashwagandha, ashwagandha is like almost too much for your system. And especially with ashwagandha, it's something that you want to be careful of like when you take it. Like for me, I only take it in the second half of my cycle because it just is too much. It's actually translates to something like horse sweat in uh in its actual name. And so it's meant for like being very activating. And since you already are kind of activated, it just like overloads your system a little bit. Does that make sense to you?
I thought that ashwagandha was supposed to be calming.
It's an adaptogen, which means that it helps your body respond to stress, which isn't necessarily the same thing as being calming. And so depending on your constitution, if somebody is like doesn't have strong digestive fire, it can be really helpful for them, or they don't have a lot of natural energy. It can be really helpful for them to kind of like be able to respond better naturally. But for people that already have like a lot of
I'm
yeah,
already too
energy and heat and
turned on,
activation.
ready to respond. I don't
Yeah.
need more help with being able to respond to the stress.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I really like calm magnesium. It's like a powder and it's you put it in like water. It's a magnesium citrate. And it just feels like it absorbs a little bit easier than some of the pill forms, so that might be something to look into. But for calming for you, what are they saying? So they are saying like you could look into California poppy, which you can sometimes find tinctures for around here. It's a nervine. So for you, would like looking at things that are more like nervines. Skull cap is another nervine, um, because it's like your nervous system is super activated from those adrenals, and so you're needing things that are going to kind of like soothe in that way rather than kind of looking at it from this other systemic way, right? Um, yeah, nettles are too warm for you. If there's any other nervines, chamomile also, and that'll be good for digestion too and kind of calming some of the things. Okay, so let me look into liver. Okay, so liver governs the emotion of anger. And they're talking about that you're actually really good at expressing anger, and kind of like you're comfortable with it, and you understand that it has a healthy place. They're talking a little bit about other people's anger and how that can be really uncomfortable for you when it's directed at you, and that it's like there's a lot of almost like soothing. You kind of go almost immediately go into soothing rather than kind of trying to be protecting yourself or defending yourself in some ways from that anger because it's so activating for you.
That I
Um,
soothe the other person or
if the other person is angry, right?
that
You're
I
good with
soothe
your own
myself?
anger. You're comfortable with your own anger, but it's like other people's anger can feel really uncomfortable.
Who am I soothing? Am I soothing myself or the
You're
other?
trying to soothe the other person.
The other. Ah, okay.
So going into quickly of like, oh no, it's okay, or I'm gonna fix this, or like
Mhm,
trying to
mhm,
get ahead of it, even if they're like you kind of know they're not even right about it, right?
mhm.
Because you're trying to get the like escalation to come down. They're saying this isn't something that we're going to work on in the healing portion. It's more just something about to think about and notice, and that's the medicine for today is just to kind of look at um that pattern and notice when it comes up and take a breath and be like, oh, is this, you know, maybe it's okay for me to not take, like not have to sue them in this moment, right? And to double down on my own position. Um, okay. let me look at pancreas. Pancreas looks pretty good. I would just say it's a little tired in the fact that it's processing a lot because of all the adrenal stuff that's going on. So there's just kind of a lot of hormones running through the system because of that, and things are really activated. And so pancreas has just worked worked a little hard for that. But otherwise, it's got good production of bile and juices and all that. Take a look at nervous system. Yeah, I just see that it's just so your nervous system's so activated. It's like you almost get like too many messages at once sometimes from it, from all the different areas.
And they conflict.
And yeah.
I'm like,
It's
ah.
just like um and lymph looks pretty good. And I do see that you move pretty regular, like you do a lot of movement. Like I don't know if it's just even like walking around a lot, but you get that lymph moving, which is really good. um I would say you probably sweat pretty easily too, which is good.
Mhm,
Things flowing. Yeah, it's just
mhm,
like the slightest movement and you're just like, yeah, whoo. And that's, I mean, that's really healthy to sweat. Some people have trouble sweating. Okay. They are showing me the left hip feels can go like there's some sciatic stuff in that left hip, and that it'll almost like go out and be like off for a few days and then it'll be fine. And they're showing that's connected to some of the spine stuff we talked about. Um, but it's also mental emotional in that our hips often are kind of our foundation and our foundation of self and our understanding around ourself. And so the left stuff is like when again you've had these waves of things just kind of like hitting you out of nowhere. It's like that left hip will start to be like, ooh, this is something about me, or like I don't have, you know, my myself together in this moment. And so it'll actually be a pain in there that's kind of your body trying to tell you about that. Does that make sense?
mhm, mhm. Yeah, and then everything else getting thrown off from that. Yeah,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, because it's like you can't walk, you can't hold yourself the same because of that, and so it kind of
Mhm,
like throws everything off. Um, Yeah, and they're just showing me how it like goes actually all the way back up your spine, and then you get like almost like tension through the neck or even some headaches or something associated with that as well.
mhm,
That's interesting. So they're showing me the sign that I get when people have healing hands. I often see this with like people that do Reiki or like massage therapists or things like that. You have energy coming out of your hands. So you are a natural healer. You have natural healing energy. And they're actually saying it's like been building in your hands because you haven't been able to use as much of that healing energy to flow out of you. Does this
mhm,
make sense to you?
mhm.
Yeah. Do you do any kind of healing practices, or do you?
Like for others?
Mhm.
Not necessarily. I'm certified in Reiki. I have a history of nursing, but I
Oh,
haven't been in the field for a while.
mhm. Okay. Yeah. So maybe looking at some ways to cultivate if that's interesting to you because it just feels like you have that caretaker energy anyways, but maybe find some like local Reiki shares in the area just to like keep practicing that or learning a new modality around healing, but like that energy wants to flow through you and it would be like beneficial for your system to do that, and to release some of that energy. And it just, like when this as a, when you're doing working with Reiki stuff, it's like good for the person who's giving it too, right? It's like um realigning. Yeah, because they're actually showing me that you're really good at drawing energy from the earth, like naturally. Like you can really pull it up and like use it in different ways. Um, and you don't give yourself enough credit for that, I want to say. Um, I do see that the knees get a little bit tweaky. They can get like kind of achy. And again, part of that is just the structural stuff and tweakiness. Did you have any injuries, past injuries to the knees?
I,
Seeing?
yes, I just had a surgery. I'm a year out.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm seeing. And there's still some like,
Yeah.
scar tissue in there. I'm seeing there's still some like achiness and some stuff that's still healing within it. Um, and they're kind of saying like you're gonna like overhealing it. You're like, I'm done. I did the thing. And like, it's kind of frustrating that it's still active, but they're saying kind of it could use a little bit more loving, tender energy from you around that and to just allow it to take the time that it takes. Cause there was some stuff with like tendons and ligaments and stuff as well. And like that stuff takes forever to heal. So, they're talking about a little bit of like red light therapy. Do you know anything about that?
Vaguely, a little bit.
Yeah. So some like infrared light, you can get like one of those little light, like a little infrared light and actually put it directly onto your knees, but something like that where you're actually taking, and part of it is the red light, but part of it is also the practice of caring for yourself and just taking time to like love and respect your knees and all they've done for you. Um, and so it causes you to sit down and do something that is only focused on like caring for yourself, which is something that you don't always do. Um,
Mhm.
you have really strong calves. That's really interesting. Like they're super strong.
Yeah.
Um, and thighs, but like especially the calves. I'm seeing ankles too are also a little tender. They kind of tend to do the kind of rolling thing a little bit. And they're saying sometimes this is because you're kind of moving a little bit too fast or trying to like get all the things done. And sometimes not always having that body awareness. But yeah,
Mhm.
you are very grounded, and it's almost like you forget that you're grounded. So, because you're in, like we talked about, you're in the soup all the time and you're feeling the things. And a lot of times that leaves people ungrounded. But no, you are really like, you're also very much in, the present moment in this present reality. Um, and again, you kind of like that's what leads you to naturally like pull energy up from the earth to use. Okay, I'm gonna pause there and just check in with you and see if there was something else somewhere else didn't cover or something else you wanted to get more information on.
Hmm. Womb space, anything
No.
over like the reproductive.
Let me take a look into there. So I do see one side's a little more active than the other. Almost looks like the left side. So the right side is a little bit less active, which so your cycle might be a little bit different month to month because of that. So it might be a little bit more. I do see it looks pretty heavy, and pretty. It's just like dense, just like your flow. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just like, and when it comes, it's like it's a lot and it's thick and it's viscous and
It's an intense experience.
mhm. And oof, and they're just showing the like way it drains you.
Mhm.
Like just it's like all of your energy just goes there and sits there. Um, Let me see about that. You are holding some energy around kind of relationships and relating to others in that space. And let me feel into that. Because it just almost feels like your body hasn't been honored in relationships as much as it really should have been. Um, does this make sense to you?
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
it's and there's a lot of protective energy around kind of like trying to keep yourself safe in that way. And the word like it's almost like carelessness more than anything on the part of the person of just like not really being conscious of the impact that they have on people. So I'm gonna write this down actually as another thing to work on. Um, and we'll look more deeply at that. So, that's some of the heaviness there is just that's it holds a lot during the month, and then it's like that's when you process everything is like during your cycle and it comes out very very intensely. Is there anything else? And it feels like they're long cycles. Like they just take not like when they come in, but like the amount of days that you have the actual period feels like it's a lot.
It's not that much. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's probably 3, 4, maybe
Okay.
5 days, but
Okay.
the experience. I feel like I'm very attuned to the cycle. And so I'm very, like, I'm feeling in my body, like, oh, I'm starting to PMS. I can notice the changes,
Mm-hmm.
like the subtle changes of things are shifting. And I can feel the density and the heaviness shift.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm carrying it before the time and like almost trying to prepare and work my life around it
Yeah.
because it is so heavy and it does drain me so much.
Yeah. Um, do you ever do raspberry leaf tea for cycles? Yep.
Hmm.
That's a good
Hmm.
one.
Yeah, the
Um,
spearmint, chamomile, raspberry leaf, green tea.
yeah.
I got mullein too for my lungs.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Mullein is great. I feel if there's anything else about it. Yeah, it's just so heavy. That's what I'm seeing. And it's like the cramps are really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The magnesium should be helping with that theoretically, but again, it's almost like, yeah, they're talking about with all of those magnesium supplements, it was just almost like overloading the body. So then when it saw it, it's like almost doesn't know how to process all of the magnesium that it's getting.
Mm. Is it that it's not
Um,
balanced?
hmm.
Like, does magnesium need to be balanced with other minerals
Um,
for like absorption or?
yes, you need to take it with calcium, or calcium should be taken with magnesium. If calcium doesn't have magnesium, it'll leach
Ah,
calcium out of the bones.
there it is.
Um, yeah, so those could are helpful. There's a lot of supplements that have calcium like balanced with magnesium too, so that might be something to look at. Um, and they're saying to drink a little bit more water too. It's like almost like you get so busy you forget about it. Like
Mhm.
you just like going. And they're almost saying like you don't like water doesn't feel like exciting to drink. And there's like not a like it's fine, but like if you add a little bit of something that feels really yummy to you to the water, then you're going to be more likely to drink it. So
Mhm.
adding some kind of a, like electrolyte or like a little bit of fruit juice or even like lemon or something to it is going to like you'd be like, "Ooh, I
Mhm.
get to drink water," instead of being like I have to.
Yeah.
Um cuz like I have to like brings up anxiety in your body, which is interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm. Um yeah, they're talking about choice being super important for you. Um, okay. Anything else that you wanted to check in about?
My tailbone.
Mm, yeah, that's funny. It's funny because I kind of pinged me a minute when I was looking at your spine. It's almost like it's like to the one side or something. Like it doesn't go totally straight up and down. Am I seeing that correctly? Okay. Yeah, it's almost like it goes off to one side a little bit. Part of that is kind of just some of the tensing that we were talking about through the sciatic already. Did you have an injury to it at some point?
I was just thinking about that this morning. I when I was younger, I remember sitting down and I sat on like the corner of a windowsill.
Mm.
Maybe I was in like fifth grade, but I haven't had any issues until recently when I've been just
Mm.
feeling sore and tender and like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, the muscles are just achy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what's going on? That's so weird. I've never had issues back there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's interesting is that they're actually talking about this being flared up by the knee stuff that has you just had kind of the surgery, and because of that, there was a lot of holding and holding yourself differently and kind of favoring one side or whatnot as you were doing that, and that kind of like flared some of this pattern that was already there that you didn't notice before.
Mhm.
And so it's not like there's anything new that's going on. It's just kind of like, because of that, you hold yourself a little bit differently now. Um, do you do physical therapy after?
It did.
Yeah. Um, yeah, they're almost saying maybe if you can return to some of those practices, because like you're probably it's been a little bit since the surgery, so you might not be doing them as regularly, but like kind of returning to some of those especially around posture, that they have you do. Um, they're really talking about, I know there's some where you kind of like go up and down with your heels, right? To kind of like rebuild some of that. Um, and your balance was a little bit different from this, right? From this
Mhm.
process. And so it's almost like you are in a new balance point than you used to be because of this. You're balancing on, they're almost showing you like a little bit more forward onto your toes than you used to be. And so kind of learning to kind of refine that balance point again.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Um then your feet would like some appreciation. We carry
Okay.
you around a lot, and sometimes I think we just forget about our feet. Like we're just like until they hurt and bother us. But they just feel like they would like some special attention. So calling that
Thank you.
out. Okay. Anything else you wanted to ask
No,
about?
this is great.
Okay. All right, great. Let me see what, so this is where we'll transition into the healing portion. Following the assessment, we end the session with a healing where we unpack the root causes of the stagnant energies that were surfaced during the walkthrough of the body and systems. The information quickly gets very personal and detailed, so in order to maintain the privacy and anonymity of my participants, I don't share these sections on the podcast. They're also not ideal for an audio format as they often include long stretches of silence while we work with visualizations, meditations, and other kinds of energy work. Thanks for listening to Medical Intuition Illuminated. If this episode resonated, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone who might benefit. Special thanks to Derek Ryan for music. Until next time, listen deeply to the wisdom of your body.